multitask. We are going to start with just a couple of slides on communication. If you haven't done our class on communication, that is also on our YouTube page. Go to YouTube, type in James L. West Center for Dementia Care, and then it's called Communication Strategies Across the Stages of Dementia. So it is one of our most watched. People will watch it over and over again because where you are today with your loved one is very different from where you're going to be in 6 months or a year. So folks will go back and re-watch it because you're going to take from it what you need right now. But there's a couple of things that are going to be appropriate all the way through the course of the disease. And the first one of those is we do not want to use the word remember when we're talking to someone with dementia. Now, again, if you already know this, if you've been doing our education classes, if you've been in our support groups, this is the program that you're going to want to send to family that might be coming in. This is the program that you're going to want to send, or the slides or the YouTube connection, to family that's going to be coming in that maybe hasn't seen your loved one since last year, to family and friends. And then you can't make them watch it. You got to keep that in mind, but you can send it. And you can highly recommend it. Be assertive without being aggressive. We always want to use the word okay, regardless of what our loved one says to us. Okay. Okay doesn't mean you're right. Okay means I heard you. That's all it means. It's validation therapy 101. You're the one that took all my money? Okay, let me call the bank. Because that very next step is to fix it. And sometimes we have to fix it with a therapeutic story. Is that a lie? It's a therapeutic story. God knows the difference. I'm a firm believer. We've got to go to their world. They can't come to ours. And then we're going to distract. So validate, fix, distract. Validate, fix, distract. Okay. I'm going to call the bank. Let's just use that one. And then distract away. What are our 4 things we want to distract with? Food, number 1. And the holidays are coming, so we're going to have food amok. We're going to have food everywhere. And sweeter the better, because a person with dementia is going to crave that sweet food because they can taste it. So let's get out the Christmas cookies and the Bluebell ice cream. And if you're not from Texas, I'm sorry if you don't know what Bluebell is. That is a shame. I think we're the only place that has Bluebell. But ice cream is God's gift to dementia. Let them have it. Cookies, anything that they are really wanting. The second distraction is going to be music. And because that right side of the brain deteriorates slower than the left, music is stored on the right. And what better to play right now than Christmas or holiday music? We've heard and known Christmas and holiday music since we were very young. So that is stored in their brain, and you will be surprised at what they know, what they can still sing, what they can still hum, even if they have aphasia. Please try it. And don't just use Christmas music at the holidays. You can use it all year round, especially to make a connection. So food, music, animals, and children are the other 2 things we use to distract. Food, music, animals, and children. If you don't have real animals, you don't have real children, we're going to get some gift ideas today, but you can always go to YouTube. Now, YouTube on a smartphone, they are not going to be able to see very well because their vision is changing. It's becoming narrow. iPads usually work pretty well, but if you can go to YouTube TV, if you can put YouTube up on a big screen and type in something like children laughing, you'll love it too, especially if you've got some ice cream. Or baby animals. That's where I got these images you're looking at right now. And who isn't going to look at that and smile? So let's jump into holiday gift ideas for someone with dementia. I've already mentioned music, songs from their past that are associated with good memories. So everyone has what's called a music set list. It is the music that we listen to between the ages of 10 and 25. So if you don't know what kind of music your loved one liked, go back, when were they a teenager, and get like the best of the 60s, the best of the 70s, the best of the 50s, whatever it was, and get that music for them. I'm going to show you some examples of a collage photo frame. And I actually got this from a family member. That's why this program has grown, is because so many of the things I'm going to show you today is something that other families did. And then photo books with captions. You can see right here at Shutterfly, at CVS, at I think Costco and Sam's still does it, Walgreens, where at Shutterfly is very, very easy, where you take your pictures and you can build a story. You can see the picture there. Now, I'm going to encourage you, don't make them a book full of pictures of your grandkids. They don't know who that is. They are going back in time. They need a book of pictures of them as a child, their siblings, their parents, depending on where they are in the disease. Go back, not present and not forward. We're going with them. Do something that tells their story. And when you write the story, use their voice. My mom, Alice. My dad, David. Whenever you put those captions, they are amazing. I've seen people carry these books around with them because they know it's their story. Now, this particular photo frame in the upper left, they used to sell this at Kirkland's. I don't know if they still do, but look at how amazing this is. It is a family tree. So to be able to take pictures, and then it had a place where you could write in who it was. What I saw a family do was they actually used a label maker. And so it said, my dad, Ted, my mom, Susan. And it was very clear because it was that bold print, white background with black writing on it. And I walked in on a man sitting there and he was reading Uncle Sam, Aunt Debbie. And he was telling me his family tree, not pictures of the grandkids, pictures of the past. There's another one of the photo books. And then look in that lower right, that is where someone took, you can take if they collected albums and they turned it into a collage on the wall. You can also do it with the, they even make frames for photo albums, but this particular family turned it into, they just put them side by side, and they used something from their loved one's past to hang it on the wall. So it was something they could look at. And then, of course, they've got the collage photo frames where you can make your own. Other gift ideas, materials to sort. If they are someone that's at the stage of the disease where they rummage or they like to sort, you can even use their own stuff. One of the best things you can do, I've seen for a man, was getting his toolbox out and all of his nuts and bolts and screws and nails, and then they got him these little, you can either use baby food jars. I would use like little Rubbermaid, little bitty Rubbermaid, so that he could sort it. That was the best gift ever. It was his stuff. And then baskets of yarn and fabric. I've seen people do it with sewing kits before, where you're giving them something that's familiar. I'm going to recognize that toolbox. And then there's all this stuff, and I can sort it because I'm helping you, because I need help. I need all this sorted out. And then I need to really do all of this. Also, games that are very large, and I'm going to show you some examples of that. They're easy to find now. I saw great big cards at a Dollar Tree. They were like a 5x7 playing cards. Dollar General has them a lot of time. Giant Jenga. Things that are bigger because they're going to start to lose those fine motor skills. There's a picture there of the basket with the yarn, something to sort buttons. And then there's the toss across, and that is tic-tac-toe, but you're throwing bean bags at it. A game of washers. You can even play with the game Twister, but you're going to throw bean bags onto that game Twister where you spin it, and let's say it's right red. Well, we're going to throw it with our right hand on red. We're not going to get down there and put a right hand on red, but we're going to throw it with our right hand. You just make it work. Other gift ideas. Large picture books. We also call these coffee table books. They're made for adults. They're everywhere this time of year. Barnes and Noble has them. My favorite place to go is Half Price Books, because lots of times Half Price Books will have them in the clearance section. And then if they cut them up or they tear them up or they write on them, they cost $2 or $3. But they also are made for an adult, so they don't look like a children's book. If they were someone that was interested in horses, cars, airplanes, nature, old movies, historical events, maps, get those large books. And then you also don't have to worry about the banter back and forth with your loved one. We're going to look at this book. Models, if they still have those fine motor skills, even if they don't do it together. There's a birdhouse in this particular picture. We're going to make a birdhouse. We're going to make bird feeders. We're going to put together this airplane. Then you can make things for other people. And this was something I got from a family member, and it was an ornament kit. And it was these snowmen down here in the lower right, where their loved one was still able to make those great big stitches around the outside. And they made those ornaments for all the grandkids. The tie blankets is another one. And I actually did this with our participants in our day program, where we got the tie blankets and they could still tie because it's not a little bitty knot, it's a big knot. And it doesn't matter if they're not perfect. We made them and took them down to the animal shelter. So we were doing something with a purpose. You can buy those tie blankets. Michael's has them. Hobby Lobby has them. Joanne used to have them, but I think Joanne's fabrics went out. You can also order all of them on Amazon, of course. And then there's a picture of those coffee table books. There's one that happens to be about Tampa, where you can get one specific to a city. Other holiday gift ideas, and I'm going to give you a couple of really good websites to go to. Noise canceling headphones, sensory pads, pillows, or blankets, and there's a picture of one in the lower right. That's called a sensory or a fidget blanket, where it's just the size to go over their lap, but it has buttons and zippers. It's kind of like a busy blanket. A picture set that is nostalgic or reminiscence cards. I put a picture there of reminiscence cards of cars. You can find anything. I've got a set of reminiscence cards right here that are popular items from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And they're on cards that are about the size of an index card. They are great ways to start a conversation. And what I do with them is I'll go in with a card and ask someone, hey, what is this? I found this picture of, I know what it is, but it's not about me, it's about them. Weighted blankets and heated blankets. Just be careful with the heated blankets, but weighted blankets can really be amazing for someone with dementia. It brings security. Usually what works best are the ones that are made for children, so they're about 8 pounds rather than the heavier ones. I've even seen one that was 4 pounds. And then we're also going to talk about weighted animals. Very popular right now. I saw them in the Super Kroger. So you can find those. And people who you may think, oh, my husband would never want to wait. Try it. Try it. I've just heard stories that were amazing about people getting these weighted animals. And I'm going to show you some pictures. Here's some ideas of some of the things that are, there's a water mat. There's one that has like sand in it. And it's just, it keeps them busy. It's something to do. It's got the colors in it, but these are made for adults. There's a painting kit in the upper right, and all you're doing is putting water on it, and the picture appears. And when it completely dries, the picture goes away. So you can use them over and over and over and over. And they're not childlike. They look like real pictures of birds or of something out in nature. And again, I'm going to give you where to find these. You can get a lot of it on Amazon, but I've got 2 other sites I'm going to give you. This is something, this is like a fidget, something to do in that upper left hand where you're putting something together. You can see it's like PVC pipe. And then there are the rings, like a key ring that has all these different types of material. So whenever our loved ones are in the stage of the disease that's sensory, which is the later stage of the disease, they might just sit and run their hands over all these different types of, because that's how they can communicate now. Also, there's the big, where you make the big laces in the lower right, and then in the upper right, those are those pop, they're fidgety type things. Another thing that you can have made is these pillows on the bottom. These are pillows made from photographs. So one of them, they took their cat's picture and they had a pillow made of the cat's head. And another one, they used a photo. That one just happens to be a wedding photo. I had a woman here at the West Center that had a photo made of a pillow made of herself for her husband. And it was her like head and shoulders, and there she was on the pillow, and he would carry it around. And then these babies. I'm not always a big fan of baby doll therapy, but there's a time and place for it. And I'm going to ask you, please don't get a Dollar General baby that costs $4 that very clearly is a doll. We want to get something that's weighted, that moves like a baby. They make babies for people with dementia. And again, I'm going to give you a website. Here's some of the weighted therapy animals, and these have actually been sent to me by folks that are in our support group. My newest one I just added was the panda. I just added that one. One of our support group members, they had a little black and white dog that passed away right as his wife was getting toward the end of the disease, and he just knew she was going to have fits. We suggested get a weighted animal. He couldn't find a black and white dog, but he found a black and white panda, and she took right to it because it's heavy, it's weighted like an animal, sits right there on her lap or on her chest, and she pets it. It's doing exactly what the dog was doing, but it doesn't have to be let out, fed, or cleaned up after. So, but they come in all different kinds of animals. There's also a woman on our support group that talks about her husband's dog and that he won't hardly leave the house without his dog because it's kind of become his comfort. He has to have his puppy with him. Now, they also make mechanical pets, and these are examples of 2 dogs and 2 cats that are mechanical pets. And the mechanical pets are not a fur real pet like you get at Walmart that are for children. These are made for people with dementia. It can interact. They will scare you to death if you've got it set on a motion detector and you walk in the room and it starts barking. I've had that happen before. They'll roll over, they'll purr, their eyes will open and shut. They're really amazing. And again, please don't think, oh, my loved one would never like that. I had someone donate one of these cats to our day program, and the very person they thought was going to take to it didn't, but one of the men took to it, and he carries that cat around, carries the cat, and when the batteries go dead, he'll take it to someone and say it died. And then they'll put batteries in it, and it's back to life again. So if they don't take to it right now, just hold tight. They may take to it in a week or 2 or in a month or 2, and just keep introducing it. Other things that you can do. You can make quilts or other familiar, other objects from their shirts, robes, jeans, and I'm going to show you some examples. Puzzles or coloring sheets of themselves. You can have that made at Shutterfly as well. Devotional books to read together at night. If you were a couple or you were somebody who you and your loved ones shared the love of the Bible, read together, get up in the bed together, sit on the couch together and read to them, but let them hold it. When I was a volunteer for hospice, that was the number one thing I was asked to do was read the Bible. And I'd get right in the bed with people and have them hold it, but I would read it. What a bond and a connection. Get some type of a devotional or chicken soup for the soul, those little short stories, and read them together. It's a time of connection where nobody's being a caregiver. We're just connecting. TV ears, we mentioned that with the sound counseling headphones. And then here's 2 of the places you can go to look for some amazing items, but a lot of time it's cheaper over on Amazon. So go to Al's Store, alzstore.com. Lots and lots of great ideas, things you never thought of before. And then also go to ssww.com. And if you type dementia in their search bar, it is going to pull up a whole lot of these very pictures that you saw. I got them right off of there. Again, compare the price over on Amazon. I wanted to show you this picture. This is something that a family had made out of their loved one's clothes. And they actually made this for the rest of the family because they didn't know what to do with his clothes after he was placed in memory care. So they found someone who could sew, and they took his favorite shirts and things, and they made pillows and bears for everybody in the family. Isn't that amazing? And then here's another shot of some of those bears that were made. Another family wanted to do something with their dad's ties. Now you can see this part of this was during the pandemic because they were making masks out of his ties. but she made wreaths out of her dad's ties, and she found it on Pinterest, how to do it, making wreaths out of ties, so that then because he'd been a businessman, he had dozens of ties. She didn't know what to do with them, but now they can enjoy them. Now, this is a little bit different. I got this from a caregiver. It's called Christmas in a Bag. Because her loved one was a walker, he walked all the time. She could not get him to sit down with her and have a conversation because he couldn't anymore. So after Thanksgiving, she came up with the idea of Christmas in a Bag, and she got herself a Christmas bag, and in it, she put a little pre-lit tree, decorated paper plates and cups, some small little wrapped gifts, and some of those wonderful little Debbie Christmas tree dessert cakes. And every time she'd go see her husband, they would have Christmas. She would come in with that big hello, today's Christmas, even if it was December 1st. And then we're going to do it again on December 7th. We're going to do it again on December 15th. Connection. Connection. Some days he had it, some days he didn't. But she came up with Christmas in a Bag. I thought that was really smart, and I'm going to swipe it, put it in this program. And again, those of you that might have joined late, you're going to get all of these slides. Jamie will send them to you. Now, a few things about gift ideas for the caregiver. If you're a caregiver yourself, or if you are somebody who knows a caregiver, one of the best things you can do is get gift certificates to the salon, to the spa, to the restaurant for a massage, to DoorDash, or to a theater. Another thing, make somebody a gift certificate saying, I'll come and stay with your loved one while you go, and the gift of time. Ready-made meals. Caregivers are always going to be appreciative of ready-made meals, or set up a grocery delivery time for them. I had someone from the church set them up with HelloFresh, where they deliver the food to the house once a week. And she said, if the family didn't want it once a week, they could change it, do it every other week. Did it cost a little bit? It did, but they wanted to do something for them. Time. Volunteer to take their animal to the vet. When was the last time the animal was groomed? Volunteer to take care of their yard. Volunteer to do anything and everything for them that they might not even know they need help with. Give them a gift certificate for respite care, or a gift certificate for an adult day program. Buy them a week of respite care. What a great gift to give somebody. Be that ear for them without trying to fix it. Because those of you that are caregivers know nobody can fix it, but sometimes we just need someone to hear us. Again, volunteer to do groceries, do the lawn, clean the house, bring a Bible study over to the house to do with that wife who's not leaving the house because she's taking care of her husband. And then he can sit in there in his chair in his underwear if he wants to. Who cares? He's in his good environment. He feels safe. He feels secure. And she's still getting to socialize and have Bible study with her friend. How are we going to include someone with dementia during the holidays? Now, one of the worst things we can do coming up in a couple of weeks, we all need to hear this. Do not say to your loved one who's trying to come in the kitchen and help, because that's where everybody is, and that's where the smells are, and that's where the sound is, and that's where the tastes are. And we look at them and say, go in there and sit down and watch TV. We've got it. What did they just hear you say?
Go away.
Go away. I don't need you. You're in the way. You're not doing it right. Their amygdala is still intact, and the amygdala holds feelings and emotions. Let them come in. Let them come in and sit down. Give them a bowl and stuff to stir. You don't have to use it, but let them be part of the camaraderie. I used to do it in the day program all the time. Everybody'd have a bowl. Everybody was stirring. Everybody had batter. My batter was the one going in the oven. But they got to be part of the talking, the smells, the taste, the socialization. On the other hand, if they don't want to be part of it, don't make them be part of it. We go to their world, they can't come to ours. Let them hang ornaments on the tree. Let them put up decorations. It doesn't matter if they put 50 ornaments right here in this little spot of the tree. You go change it later after they go to bed. But let them be part of it. How long are they going to be able to do it? Let them do it. Let them set the table. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let me give you a great example of this with the holiday cards. I had a resident who lived with us for 3 years, and her daughter really took this because they had always done cards together. The first year she was there, her mom was still able to write in the card. So they sat outside my office and they sat and they did their cards together pretty much like they'd always done. The second year, mom couldn't sign her name anymore. She couldn't do the cards. So the daughter went and got these stamps, holiday stamps, and her mom could put the holiday stamps on it after she wrote in it. The third year, her mom was wheelchair bound and pretty much was in the sensory stage. So she pulled her mom up to the table. She put Christmas music on her phone, and her mom sat there and watched her do it, listening to Christmas music. So she still incorporated her into it, but she changed as her mom changed. I've got stirring batter and mixes in the kitchen, listening to carols and hymns, watching a holiday movie, especially an old holiday movie, something from the past, White Christmas, not something new that might not hold their attention, but something from the past that I'm clicking back to that I've known for years and years. A religious service. If they can't go out, go on YouTube. You can find Christmas religious services right now and watch that Christmas service together or that religious service. Put bows on the gifts, going for walks, going for a ride, seeing the holiday lights. Talk about holidays from their past. Don't use that word remember. Remember when we instead do. What was your favorite toy? What was your favorite toy you got as a child? And then wait, because we want them to answer like that, and lots of times they can't. They're processing what you said. Give them up to 20 seconds to answer. So if I were to ask someone that question, tell me about your favorite thing that you ever got for Christmas. And then it's quiet, I'm going to let it be quiet. It's called the uncomfortable silence. If they still don't say anything, I might say something like, did you ever have a doll? I had a Raggedy Ann. Did you ever have a Raggedy Ann? And see if you can it's almost like you're dropping little hints to them to see if there'll be a connection. Stringing popcorn. If they still have those fine motor skills, let them string popcorn. Make paper chains of garland. These are great things to do with the grandkids too. Read those holiday books aloud. And if you've got the grandkids, have the grandkids read the book. Have the grandkids sit right up beside them and read that book. They might not be able to call their name. They might not know exactly who they are, but they know it's a child and that they love them. They're going back in time. Don't scold because they don't remember. Raking leaves. If they can still get out and rake leaves, let them do it. It's okay if they get cold. It's okay if it's windy. We don't want to put them in bubble wrap and put them in a recliner. There's dignity with risk. Making paper snowflakes. That's something from a long time ago. The young kids probably don't even know how to do that. Polish the silver. Make a floral arrangement. Wrap gifts. Collecting pine cones. Another thing to do is to celebrate Advent. This came from a family member that this became something she did with her husband they lit a candle each night and they read a devotional together. And I went online and was able to find these great Advent. The one in the lower right, that's actually Mary and Joseph, and you move them up every day and they're walking you can see what's going on there. It's pretty amazing. That's right off of Amazon. There's of course, the Advent calendars that have candy in them, so we can look forward to opening that every day and having some chocolate, and then reading our devotional. Or one of my favorites, I have one of these, it's where you pull out the little drawer and then you hang the little ornament on the tree every day. How to celebrate when you don't feel like it, because sometimes we just don't even want to do the holidays. This comes up in support group all the time. I don't even feel like doing it. Have the grandkids or the kids come over and put the decorations up. You're going to feel better watching them do it, seeing them get excited about it. You don't have to do it. You're not being a burden. Because we will often say, I don't want to be a burden to my kids. They want to do it. Most of the time, they want to do it. Ask them. Don't take away from them because then I talk to adult children who say, my mom won't let me or my dad won't let me. And I'm losing time with my other parent because they won't let me because they think they're being a burden. If your loved one doesn't want to help, ask them to supervise. This came straight from a resident here at the West Center. They were asking him to help decorate, and he didn't want anything to do with that. So they started asking him, where should we put this bell? Where should we put this stocking? And he'd tell them that all day long, but he didn't want to be the one holding them, but he told them where to put stuff. And then invite friends over. This again came from a support group member. She just could not get in the mood, could not get in the mood. And so she had her girlfriends come over. They got out some wine and the decorations and they did it together, and they decorated the house and they had a girls' evening. Now let's get into those tips for family caregivers. This year's going to be different from last year, no matter where you are in the disease. Your loved one is a year further into a progressive disease. They haven't been here before and you haven't been here before. So you're going to have to be the one to understand where they are and how to accommodate them. They're not giving you a hard time, they're having a hard time. We accommodate the disease, they can't. So you may need to really bring the celebrating down. They may be at a point in the disease, and you might even know it till it happens. You might not know it till it happens, that they have become hypersensitive. So too many lights, too many people, too much noise can trigger a catastrophic reaction in someone who's never had it before. So then step back, because about 80% of the time when they have one of those, it was our or someone else's approach, or it was the environment. So don't try to bring them to our reality. Go to where they are. Now, let me share a really quick story, because please don't do this. We had Santa coming, and I had a daughter who had bought her mother a beautiful red Christmas sweater. But her mother was one of those people who liked to wear the same thing every day. And it just so happened that what she liked to wear every day was a sweater that wasn't hers that had a big stain on it. And it made the daughter crazy. First of all, it wasn't her mom's sweater. It had a stain on it, and she wanted to wear it every day. But the mom was perfectly content in it. Well, the daughter told the staff that they were to put her mother in that new Christmas sweater, period. And it wasn't happening because she didn't want it. So they came and got me because the daughter was getting really upset and ugly and mad. And I went up and talked to her and said, what is this about? She said, well, we're going to do a Christmas picture. I want her in a Christmas sweater. I don't want her in that old ugly yellow sweater with stain on it. It's not even hers. I've talked to you about this. And I had to look at her with compassion and say, well, we're not going to force her to put on the Christmas sweater. You can try your best, but she's not going to be happy in that. She's very happy in that yellow sweater, and she'd go take a picture right now with you in that yellow sweater. What if this is the last Christmas picture you get? What if you don't get a picture because you're fighting with her over a Christmas sweater? And it was the last Christmas. And they did do a picture in the yellow sweater with a stain on it. And I still, on occasion, will run into that daughter, and she will thank me now and laugh and go, I'm so glad I've got that picture with the yellow sweater with the stain on it. And we didn't fight her over the Christmas sweater. Be careful about what's important. Prepare visitors before they come. Send them this program. Send them these slides. Make sure that you give them an idea of where your loved one is now, and you tell them the best times to visit. They don't tell you we're going to show up at 2 for dinner or for lunch, because you know what? If your loved one is used to eating at 11, then we need to eat at 11. You might eat again at 2. But we need to stay on their schedule. So you be the one, do it by being assertive, not aggressive, but tell them exactly how your loved one has changed. What's different emotionally, mentally, and physically? Are they incontinent now? We don't want to hide or try to keep from them. This is all protecting our loved one's dignity by letting them know they've become incontinent, so that nobody makes a big deal out of something that might happen. If dad is to go off by himself, all he's doing is telling us is that it's getting too loud, and that's okay. but just give them an idea. And what you might do, a lot of families will do so that they don't have to tell every person, they'll do a family email. Just do a family email so you only have to write it down one time. Some people might be afraid to be left alone with your loved one because they don't know what to do or say and they're nervous. So stay close by so that they can ask questions and then they can watch you take the lead because you know them best. So you're going to be setting an example of how to talk to, communicate with your loved one. Share plans about challenging expressions if they happen. If we see dad start to kind of ramp up, then you're going to see me take him to his chair and put on Gunsmoke because that's what works best, even if it's in the middle of football, because football can happen somewhere else. But he's used to sitting here and watching Gunsmoke at 2 in the afternoon. So we're going to watch football. I mean, we're going to watch Gunsmoke at 2. And then encourage them if you have any questions, email me or call to get back with you. That's why I'm saying send them the link to this program. You're going to get it in a email from Jamie later today. Think about that word KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it super simple and sane. Keep things simple. Don't eat or drink too much. Balance what you and your loved one eat and drink. Make sure you both are still getting plenty of rest and be respectful of your loved one and their time. Celebrate in their most familiar setting. Traveling to a new place can cause anxiety. We're going to talk about traveling, but try to have it where they are comfortable. So families many times will ask, is it okay if I take my loved one out of the nursing home or the assisted living and bring them home for Thanksgiving Day? You can absolutely try if you choose to, but most of the time it goes better if you stay in what they're used to day to day. And if you do take them out and it doesn't go well, turn right around and bring them back. Nobody's going to think anything of it if you were gone for 10 minutes and you bring them right back. It just didn't work. We tried and it just didn't work. It's okay. Another thing, if there's a lot of family, instead of bombarding them with 5 to 7 to 8 to 12 people, just visit one-on-one with them. Just go in one-on-one. And we never want anyone to go in and say, do you remember who I am? That can trigger a catastrophic reaction because you're implying that I forgot something. So let's make sure that we're sending people in one at a time. Trust children. If there's going to be children coming around, just trust children. They know how to act around someone with dementia because children are not judgmental. They usually are just themselves. Don't scare them. I see kids come in all the time that are their eyes are this big and they're standing against the wall because somebody's told them something about dementia that scared them. Dementia's not scary. Children bring joy and they bring pleasure. That's why on our list of things to distract, food, music, animals, and children. Another thing that's going to be difficult for you as a caregiver is that you're going to be able to think back to, if I were to ask you, what was your loved one doing on June 1st of this year? You probably couldn't tell me. But if I asked you, tell me about your loved one on Thanksgiving Day of last year, you probably could tell me because it was Thanksgiving Day. And this year, you may find yourself looking at your loved one and going, last year they were using a fork, and this year they're using their hands. That's a pretty big difference in a year. So you'll catch yourself having memories of yesterday and altered visions of the future. So you've got to be really, really careful about staying present. Stay present. Don't let yourself get lost in yesterday or get lost in tomorrow. Stay present. Make connections. Make memories. Give yourself time to grieve, because that's what this is grief. And then take care of yourself. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Allow somebody to help you. If you have always been the one that did everything, not this year. Kroger makes a great Thanksgiving dinner. We're going out for Thanksgiving at my house this year. I just made reservations this morning. We're going to go out to a restaurant this year. I don't have to do anything except pay the bill. What I started doing years ago, though, is I said, I'll do the meat and everybody else bring the sides if you want sides, because all I'm doing is the meat. And it's okay to change traditions. It's all right. We're in a different place now. Keep in mind about those added stimuli that's going on, the decorations, the festivities, the presents, the new people. It may alter your loved one's behaviors or expressions. So if you're going to travel, also make sure to give yourself time. We're going to talk more about travel in just a minute. Try to get everybody to understand we're going to focus on the connections this year. Keep the decorations simple. Um, I had this happen. I watched it happen with my own eyes. Somebody had this beautiful cornucopia set out, and every single piece of the cornucopia was a candle, which means that it looked like food, but it was candles. And I watched this man go up and pick up what looked like an apple. It smelled like an apple. Took a great big old bite out of an apple candle. Be careful about that kind of stuff. They might not be able to differentiate that's a candle, even if they've been out for years. We're a year further into a progressive disease. Again, make sure that your family members and your friends know what to expect and that they do not use the word remember. That's the number one thing that I see visitors do is they'll go up and say something like, "Do you remember me?" Hold on, I got to turn on my fan. My office got hot. Don't be afraid to cut visits short either. So what if somebody came 8 hours across the country to see them? Maybe they're not having it right now. We're going to come back later. And be realistic. Traditions might not work anymore, or we may have to change the tradition. If your loved one is placed, if they're in a nursing home or an assisted living, please take advantage of the different areas of the community. Don't have everybody pile in their bedroom. If you were at home, we wouldn't be visiting in the bedroom. Think about it. Let's keep it normal. Where would we visit? Around the dining room table, out in the garden, on the patio, in the living room. Go somewhere, take advantage of all the different places in the community where your loved one lives. And then make sure you have the November, December calendar of where your loved one lives and come and participate in that. We had a huge big Veterans Day celebration yesterday. Families come and do that. Take advantage of what is your community going to have a Thanksgiving meal? Are they going to have a pie social? Whatever it is they're doing, go and do that then. Your loved one does not know what day Thanksgiving is because time's been gone for a long, long time. You can have Thanksgiving the Thursday before and it's okay. It's all right. Take advantage of the planned events at the community. If you're at home, adjust your expectations. Have smaller gatherings. Large crowds are probably going to overwhelm them, and a change in environment can be stressful. Involve them throughout the day, check in with them throughout the day, and try to stay as close as you can to their schedule. One of the things we've already mentioned, and I mention it again and again, is to be careful about stimuli like blinking lights. If you're putting up a tree, I'm going to suggest that you don't have running lights like you see right here. That can be confusing. It can be agitating, and then they can also have a hallucination or a delusion about it. I had a gentleman who in the evenings as the sun was going down, he would almost get hysterical about all of the white mice all over his floor. White mice. What it was he had running lights on the tree, and as the sun would go down on the floor, it was white lights running, but he was seeing white mice. So just be careful about that kind of stuff. If you want to have lights, just have the lights that stay on. Focus on what they can do. So like we said earlier, if they are still very appropriate to be in the kitchen, let them be in the kitchen. If they are still very appropriate to help with the tree, let them help with the tree. Let them do as much as they can and as much as they want. Modify those traditions so that they can still participate. That's one of the main things. We have mentioned, reminiscing about holidays, but reminisce without using the word remember. So how do we do it? It's just us changing tell me about some of your favorite food at the holidays. Did your mom cook? I love pumpkin pie. What do you think about pumpkin pie? You're feeding them some of the things to say back to you. You're dropping these little nuggets of hints and they'll make a connection. You can still have a conversation with many people who have a dementia We just have to know how to communicate with them. Let's talk about traveling a little bit. Be realistic about what your loved one can handle. One of our support group members tells the story that it was just her and her husband. They never had any children, and they had always had 4 people over, so there were 6. He couldn't do 6. One year he could do 4. He was able to do 4 and he was perfectly fine, but eventually they were just the 2 of them. So just be aware. If you're going to do a trip, try to keep it short, try to keep visits short, and keep things in mind as far as their routine goes. It's really helpful if you can have a third person with you in the car to help keep your loved one distracted, entertained, visiting with them, talking with them, sitting in the back seat with them, holding that iPad, maybe looking at a movie or talking or looking at pictures. Talk with the doctor also and make sure that they are okay to take a trip. If you're planning on staying in a hotel and you haven't done that in some time, I'm going to encourage you to do a staycation first. Before you take off hours away and stay in a hotel, try staying in a hotel across town first. I've heard it too many times where families, well, they'll be fine. They're fine during the day. They're fine at night. They will be okay. And then they are fine during the day, and then it gets time for bedtime, and they will not stay in that hotel. This isn't my bed, this isn't my bathroom, this isn't this, and they're leaving. And it becomes a disaster. Try it. Some people can still do it, of course they can, but try it at a hotel nearby. And then if things don't go well, you can go home. If you're traveling, also make sure that you take a lot of breaks. You might even kind of do your route and decide where you're going to stop. Make sure that you have their medications, their favorite items, and a change of clothes in the car where you can get to them pretty fast. Make sure you've got a cooler with some finger foods. If you can get them to sit in the middle of the back seat, that's one of the best places. They're in your line of vision. You can see them in the mirror. Make sure you have those child safety locks on the car as well so they can't open the door or roll down the windows. If you are going to try to fly with your loved one, this is something to really think about. How long can they sit still? How are they going to react to turbulence? How are they going to do in a crowd? Think about the size of a toilet on an airplane. If you are going to go, try to get that aisle in the middle seat so that you're there together. Try to fly mid-morning. That tends to be the least crowded time. Make sure you contact TSA and tell them you're traveling with someone with dementia. Ask for wheelchair assistance, even if they don't need it, but use this therapeutic story. These kids are training and they need volunteers to practice on. I always call them kids because people seem to do really well with students. These students are training and they need someone to practice on, and let them push you too. And that way you're going to get through a little bit easier if you're in a wheelchair. If you're going somewhere and you want to try a train, they do often have pretty views. There's more room to get up and move around, but they're loud and they rock. You can also contact TSA if you're going to take a train. If you're going to take a trip, just be prepared for confusion. It's probably going to happen. Make sure that you've got some quieter activities planned in the evening because this may trigger them to sundown. Try to get as much rest as possible for them. Prepare for wandering, and before you leave, make sure you enroll in something like the Medic Alert Safe Return Program, and I've got the site there. It is a bracelet that they can wear. Nowadays, though, we can put the GPS, we can put the trackers on our loved one. There's people who have the AirPods, is that what it is, in their loved one's shoes so that you can track them, or they have the watch that has the GPS on them. So there's ways that we can track them. Take a picture of them every single morning after they get dressed so that you know exactly what they have on. God forbid your loved one go missing. You want to know exactly what they have on and what they look like today. You don't want to be showing them a driver's license picture from 15 years ago. That's not who they look like anymore. And then if you stay at a hotel, make sure the front desk knows you have someone with dementia. Because if they are out walking down the hall, beating on all the doors at night, we don't want them calling the police. Some ways to take the stress out of the holidays. Plan early. That's why you're on this program today. You're planning early. I wish I could have got everybody to come on today. Plan early. Be realistic and learn the word no. You don't have to cook everything from scratch. You don't have to attend every single celebration that everybody's having. Pick just a couple of things to do, one or two things. And keep in mind, there are no have to events. If you find yourself saying, we have to this, rethink that. You don't have to do anything. Rethink that. It's changing expectations. Set those realistic goals about time, about your finances, and about expectations. Use positive self-talk with yourself. Caregivers can be some of the worst about beating themselves up with those woulda, coulda, shouldas. I should have been able to, if only I would have. We do that to ourselves. Usually there's no one else doing that to us. We do it to ourselves. And then stay focused. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Don't allow yourself to get caught in the past. Acknowledge it. It's important to acknowledge it, but don't land there and stay. And don't allow yourself to get caught in the future. We don't know anything about even an hour from now. When we get caught in the past, that's called depression. When we get caught in the future, that's called anxiety. Be careful about that. Stay present. Events don't have to be perfect. And then realize, I've got this in bold print there, as families change and grow, traditions and rituals are going to change as well. And it's okay. If you find yourself really, really tired, sleeplessness, withdrawal, isolation, or headaches, muscle tension, and some of you are going, I've got that right now. Increased anxiety, gastrointestinal issues. It's very common for caregivers to develop what's called IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, because we're dumping so much cortisol that we stop processing our food, and then we get diarrhea real bad, or we're constipated really bad, we get irritable bowel. Increased heart rate or blood pressure. If you find yourself getting confused or being forgetful, or you're having difficulty with details or not being able to keep up, you've got brain fog. These are all signs that you're doing too much, that you've taken on too much. I love this cartoon here with Charlie Brown. Look what he says. I'm even too tired to cry. I thought sometimes that can really describe us, can't it? Behavioral changes that you've taken on too much. You've got a negative attitude or you've got a negative mood. You're having trouble concentrating or even coming up with the word where you're going quite often. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. I can't think of the word. That does not mean you're developing dementia. That means you're under a lot of stress. If you find yourself feeling like you're on all the time, you're in go mode all the time, that's going to decrease your satisfaction with holidays. Let's look for connections. And then if you find yourself with increased alcohol consumption or increased food consumption, it's really easy to turn to. Some things to do as we get close to time, like right now, making out that to-do list and then prioritize it. We're not going to 4 events this year, we're going to 2. Or we may go to 1. Schedule the most demanding things that you need to do during the morning. Most people with dementia tend to have like a window when they're a little bit better. For a lot of people, it's like 9 to noon, 10 to 2, something like that. Take time for breaks. Make sure that your loved one also has time for breaks. Get some time by yourself where you can listen to some music, you can clear your mind, you can journal, you can take a walk, go out and enjoy the weather. If you're in the DFW area right now, oh my goodness, when it's in the 70s, and we're also having the 80s, but this is our window of having some really nice weather some of these days. When you are around family and friends, instead of it being something that you're dreading, what if you intentionally spent quality time, didn't let those old family dynamics come seeping back in? Just reminders, food doesn't have to be homemade. You can order it, you can bring it in from a restaurant, you can go to a restaurant. Focus on the holiday and your family. Your family was never perfect. They never were, they're never gonna be. We don't need to point that out to anybody. Enjoy the time that you've got. And then keep in mind why we do this anyway. This is supposed to be a time of the year where it's about connection, sharing and peace and making memories. Focus on that. And finally, as we're coming to a close here, be kind. Don't get caught up in the commercialism, and no one expects extreme achievement from you. Don't do it to yourself. Because again, as caregivers, we often do it to ourselves. There's my information. There's my email. There's my phone number. If there's something that you would like to ask or like to talk to me about, I am way behind on my emails right now because I was out of the office for about 9 days, but I am sure working to get caught up if you're someone who has emailed me. This program will be up on YouTube within 48 hours. You can actually send the link to other people. Jamie will send you the link to this program and she will send you a link to the slides. There's our information here at the West Center. Let me stop sharing because we went right up to time and see if there were any questions in the chat or if anybody has anything that they would like to add or any questions. We've got about 2 minutes. We've got about 31 people. You can unmute if you've got a question or you can write it in the chat. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. I love your name. From one Holly to another. Are there CEs for this presentation? Oh, Misty, oh my goodness, I thought I saw your picture come up there. That is a great question for Jamie. I think there is, though. I'm pretty sure there is. Hey, Jane. Good to see everybody. Yes, Misty, you can email Jamie and she can let you know about the CEs. I think we are doing CEs. Thanks, everybody. If you think of something, holler at me. Bye-bye.